I'll be speaking with a leader of now, Carrie.
Yes. Every Tuesday, we feature someone who defies the odds, someone who is innovative, progressive, and is a leader of now. Today's leader of now is guest Dr. Josanne Cudjoe, an assistant professor at William Patterson University in New Jersey. Welcome, Doctor.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. And we do know that you have an interesting story. A few weeks ago, you almost missed out on the opportunity to defend your PhD dissertation. Tell us about that.
Sure. So originally, my PhD dissertation was scheduled for March 25th. But as February started to go around and when March came into purview, I started realizing that the situation in New Jersey was getting intense. So I had to make that decision. Am I going to stay, wait it out, and try to do my dissertation defense, or should I go home?
Right.
So those questions were lingering in my mind, which would be safest for me. And I eventually decided I would come home without even knowing if I would be able to defend, because I started seeing shelves going empty. It was time to go home, and I talked to my family. We prayed a lot, and I got the sign, go home. So I came home probably 2 days before they closed the borders.
Right. Geez. So there weren't any provisions made at the Institute for such an instance where, in these unprecedented times, that, you could have done it later, or what? How did it end up working out for you?
Sure. So I think traditionally you have to be in front of everyone because it's that type of exam. But this is such an unprecedented event in the world that there was nothing prepared for that. Eventually, when I got here, we found out that we could do virtual defenses. So I did a virtual one versus by Zoom on the 25th. So I was able to still do it. Yes.
And it must have been such a sigh of relief, considering all the work you would have put in for such a long time to get your PhD.
Yes, very much so. Because, the road along the way is tedious. It's tiring. It's a lot of ups and downs. Times of crying, times of having to keep fighting. So for it to reach that close to the end and be so worried that it wouldn't happen or I would have to delay it was something that I was worried about because I had to submit by April 1st to be able to say that I was finished. So it was a very close, very close deadline.
Close call. Well, during all that, it must have been difficult itself, but where did you draw your strength and determination from?
So I would say my major form of strength is definitely my faith in God. He has been my everything throughout this whole entire process. There are moments where this is not the first deadline that came down to the wire, and he showed up and he really was that strength for me. And then also my family, my parents, my brother, my sister-in-law, they are the people who really stand along with me. And I have a very wide community of people who really pray for me, support me throughout the whole time. My faith community, all of those people have been people who hold me strong. So that's where I get my sort of strength.
Definitely. And from there, how would you, for the listeners and our viewers, what can we learn from your experience?
I think for me, one of the things that I learned along the way is it's not really where you start, is where you have a vision to go. I think, being a woman from a so-called third world country, I faced a lot of difficulties a lot of times in the United States. There would be competitions, people not thinking that you're capable enough of doing what you said you could do. So it's really about tenacity. It's really about driving down and working beyond what people say and what people think about you, and really seeing that you have what it takes and fighting for it. And it will be moments of collapse, moments that you'll be sad. There'll be moments when you feel like giving up, but you can't give up. You have to keep working for what you dream about.
What would you say is your most memorable positive moment, and after your most memorable negative moment during this journey?
Sure. I think one of the things that I enjoy the most about the journey, besides the research, which I'm passionate about doing work about media and bodies and the ways in which women of color are portrayed in the media. But also I was able to do a mentorship program where I mentor students of color who are thinking about going into the PhD track.
Right.
And that was one of the most enjoyable part of my journey for those 3 years, like really working with those students and seeing them blossom, seeing some of them enrolled in medical school and other PhD programs, make me feel like I'm giving back, and it's something that I'm passionate about doing.
Definitely.
And I think the other part of it, of course, there were times where you all night long, right? Being on this journey means sacrifice, so giving up things, not being here for birthdays and not being here for Mother's Day, Father's Day. That's been part of my journey for a long time. Um, and it's important to know that sometimes you have to sacrifice in the short end of things to have a long-term success. So
Okay,
for
that's
me,
it.
it was the sacrifice was part of that journey, and
Right.
you have to embrace the sacrifice with the success.
Definitely. That's such a great lesson people could learn from you there. And what about right now? How are you presently coping with COVID-19?
So since I've been here, I'm teaching 4 classes online. So
All right.
it's been working, working, working. Finals is coming up, so it's going to be a hailstorm of grading. So that has kept me very busy. But just having this time with my family, as I said, I haven't had much time with my family on a one-on-one basis. I'll come home for Christmas, short period. So this is one of the longest times I've been home for a period of time. So it's just great to be with my parents, have time with them, and praying, trying not to get so immersed in everything when it comes to COVID because it can get you depressed, it can get you
True.
sad.
Yeah.
So really trying to focus on the long game and understanding how you can be happy and joyful even in the midst of sadness, but of course being concerned about the rest of the world as well, and my friends in New York and New Jersey who are in the front line of this disease in the United States.
Of course. And before we close, I want to wish you a very, very happy Teacher Appreciation Day.
Thank you.
Because you're one of those that are, influencing the future generations and, really making an impact on the future. So, we just want to extend our appreciation here to you. And again, we here in Trinidad and on the Now Morning Show, very proud of all the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, you take care. All right, that was Dr. Josanne Cudjoe, a leader of Now. And now we take a short break and we come back with more. Stay with us.